What are you gonna do, Kyle?
I'm going back to jungle. I was having fun with Rek'Sai.
You're staying top.
Indeed.
Uh, I get mid Yasuo. I don't play mid often.
You can practice him. And
Well, he's traditionally a mid, so why
I
not?
am gonna go get a snack. I'll be right back.
Wow, I need 400 more essence. That's annoying. Honestly, let's just wait till he gets back because we'll probably end up missing the queue.
Yeah, I was about to say. I saw you started.
All right, let's start it. Oh,
Good thing we waited. You know what? Corki can go mid. Let me do Corki instead. I played Yasuo, so let me try Corki.
Oh, have fun against Lux.
No, I'm going against Kiwana. Or Fizz.
Oh, that's a Lux support, my bad.
Yeah.
But she banned Yon. Who the fuck am I going against?
Well,
There's
first-
3 mid laners banned.
Top Vayne.
He banned Jin.
August, you should have been in the fucking game with us whenever they picked nothing but assassins.
What was it? A Rengar, a Kali, Kha'Zix, fucking
Yasuo.
no.
No. Who else was it? Fuck.
I could look at our match history.
I'll say it. Just look at my sisters, retards.
Oh, Twitch and Shaco. Those were the other two.
Twitch and Shadow. Fizz top. He's level 28. He doesn't know what he's doing. Or
Or
27.
you smurfing and I'm about to get fucking shit on. He's 28, you're right.
A poor Professor says 27, but no, he's 28.
Hmm.
You're going to get Jarvan. So I'm going to, yeah, Kiwana. That's
I
fine.
feel like I'm a
He might
piece
have
of
just
shit.
leveled up.
That's me selfish.
He must have, yeah. Because Professor sells him at 27.
I highly doubt. This might be a smurf, dude. But then
Oh,
again, I haven't seen Dark Harvest on Fizz a lot. Whatever.
I just realized why the fuck I got this goddamn allergies now. I think it's because I've been, well, first of all, the cold weather, and I've been sleeping with my fan
Sucking
on
my dick
full
too much.
blast at night.
Drying your size.
I do that.
You do that?
Yeah.
I normally do.
I
too.
get fucking freezing cold, but
During the fucking winter times and shit, I'll always get this shit if I fucking do that.
well, since I'm going up against a bot, I'm gonna try something new and go Doran's Ring first instead of Doran's Blade.
He's watching me trying on a bot.
I'm telling you, bro, watch him shit on me.
This is pretty.
Where's the ammunition for? Fuck, I'm really hoping I get that job, Carter.
Rooting for you. Dude, I
Yeah,
don't know what you're
it
nervous
would-
about.
Huh?
I don't know what you're nervous about. That's all you, dude. You got that in the bag.
Because of your dad, you think?
It's not because of that. It's like he told it to you straight. It's been 3 years since you've ever had anything on your record. You'll be fine.
Right.
And if he said you'll be fine, then yeah, you'll be fine. And then he'll be the one to personally hire you or interview you.
Oh, okay, bet. If that's the case, I'm gonna go in there all chill.
It
and
could
shit.
be. It could be him or JD. It's him or JD.
Is JD cool?
John Davis, dude, he's the coolest alcoholic you'll ever meet.
Alcoholic.
Alright.
Dude, he will come to work drunk.
All I know is if I
He's the
get that,
general manager.
if I get that job, that opens a lot of opportunities for me. And hell, for you too, if you get the Ford one.
Dude, that's what I'm stoked for.
Yeah. Me and you both gonna be working at dealerships, bro. What?
Getting that money.
Hell yeah.
His might be, yeah.
You might be a what?
Fuck
This
working
business
at
is about-
Kohl's, dude.
Oh, it is a dummy.
Look at him.
Well, I can't look him. Yeah. Yeah, why would you ever take Fizz top?
Okay, he's teleporting back? That says flash teleport already then.
There
I'm
should
about to
be
kill him
easy-
again.
So it should be an easy game for you then. Should.
What the fuck?
You killed him that quickly. He just TP'd back.
He TP'd, ran at me, and started fighting me.
Oh, that's
Is this that bad of a fucking fizz?
They're level 28. I don't think it's a
Still.
smurf. I think it's literally someone who doesn't know how to play.
It could be a bot.
Okay, Corky's good. At least against Kuyana, he is. Because as soon as she rushes me, I just pop my abilities and it runs her off. She can't withstand me.
Murder case. Broke nigga. Butt nigga. I'm a ridiculous.
Depending how this game goes, I think I'm gonna tell Chad to get Corky. I mean, he's doing well in Nevia, but I think Corky would be another good option for him. Because his abilities are pretty easy but effective. Oh, that's you. Nice,
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I played this dude once and I never touched him again.
Yeah, also I'm not used to it. That's why I didn't know it was you at first. Yeah, this bitch can't stand anything against me. But I think she's channeling. So I'm gonna channel too. No, she's not channeling, she's just sitting way back on tower.
I'll crash this wave.
Worth. I got a double kill after that. Out of that.
Yeah, you got a double. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do mercs.
Did Fizz rage quit?
Maybe. Why did I go merc treads? Fuck it, whatever. No, I need. It's set well, mainly for locks, but
Yeah.
I mean, there's no reason for me to since Fizz is useless. So I need to back, sell them, and get berserkers.
Yeah. For this game, that'd be the best option.
I think the Fizz rage quit.
It might remake.
I need mana. I got it back. If I had mana, I would have won that fight. Well, not that I lost, but would have had to kill. Yep. I mean, I'm honestly not very surprised. You were eating his lunch. And more. He was eating his lunch out of his ass.
I made him my lunch. Put him in a fucking sushi. You want me to come down for Jarvan? No, okay, never mind.
They're gonna remake.
I imagine so. Oh, where'd my partner go?
He's slowly behind you.
Good luck, catch me, bud. High speed. I don't need the gas. I don't need the... Oh, what the fuck? She sniped me. Okay, girl, want you going on a show for me? No way she throwing it back.
Yeah, I win that fight. Here's one thing about Corky. He gets his ult every 12 seconds. And it's a missile.
Are you serious?
I honestly never paid attention. I played him once in ARAM and I really enjoyed him. I've been wanting to play him ever since, just this person getting around to it. And you get charges too. It's a 12-second ammo recharge.
I'd imagine you did enjoy him.
Corky's attacks at 8% of their damage as magic damage. After 8 minutes, a package arrives near the fountain. You can pick up every 6 second blood clip. Corky's Ghost Gain first and Moose Valkyrie package riser from its being used. Yeah, he seems like he's kind of bonkers. I think an attack speed boost would be good on him. Yeah, I have 4 missiles I can shoot. This ability has up to 7 charges. So every 12 seconds I get an ammo recharge, and I can use it every 2 seconds. So I can shoot 7 rockets off in a matter of, what, 14 seconds, right? Well, they might not forfeit. Lux might carry.
I doubt it. Fuck Joe Biden. Fuck Joe Biden. Fuck him. Where's... Ah, shit. I messed up the song.
Got my mama out here cussing.
Getting an alt every 2 seconds
Alright.
is ridiculous.
2 junglers now. I'm just gonna perma gank your lane, Kyle.
Oh, I'm doing fine. Go bot. They need help. I don't need help. Oh, well, jungler's here now. Well, when I'm not being jumped on like that, I don't need help. Oh, my special delivery is here. Return back to base, pick up your package. I mean, I'm dead anyway, so I'm coming back as it is. Where do I pick up my delivery? Special delivery. Where is it? Was it that? Yeah. Got it. How long does that last? Why, how was Fiona 3 and 1? So I don't know who she killed. Because it wasn't me. Pretty sure Jarvan. No, she did kill me. I thought Jarvan got me. So just get 1 off of me. Who should get 2 off of?
I know she got 1 off of me.
She got 1 off of you. Oh, I know I didn't feed her. That's why I'm confused. Like where she got her kills from.
Ouch. Did you get topside camps?
I just took Krogs.
No, Jarvan just got ripped. He was up there. I don't know where she's at. Oh, there she's back.
Can I get an amen? You're working me friends. Breaker better day. Now it's 300k. I'm a day. Last night cause I blacked out. And an all white dress. Give it back out.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna remake.
No,
Oh, it's too late for that.
Well, it's too late, but I don't think they need to. Honestly, look how well they're doing. Oh, if my Ignite was up, I win that. Someone fed her. She fed out of lane, so now I'm gonna struggle with her. She's like 1 hit, if you wanna go chase her down. If you can try to find her real quick. Yeah, she fed out of lane. She's 4 and 1. That's annoying. This other lane's fucking through it for me.
I've gotten 2 turrets before. Okay.
Has anyone tried to stop you?
No.
I wish they would. Take attention off of me for a second.
Oh, hey, here's Jarvan. I'm 3 levels on him. Oh, and Kiana.
Alright, that's fine. Well, I'll take base then. Or not base, get my tower.
okay, don't die. Dope. Right as the devil. And a hold on me. Right as the devil. Hmm.
God damn it. Man, I would have died anyway. Jarvan was right behind me. Or right behind her. Yeah, I can't handle her now. She went and fed elsewhere. Like, I can get her down to half, but I just can't finish her.
Okay.
I had to.
Like, really, bro.
You have
That was
100.
not Slim Shady of you.
Now you're what?
That was not Slim Shady of you.
That's very Slim Shady of me.
Wait, you have 105 CS.
Not enough.
You have like the most goal I've ever won in the game, probably.
Yeah, I would have loved to get Kiana shut down though, or at least another kill so I could, you know, keep getting more fed because of my huge ass level lead. But Austin's over here like, alien nigga, kill steal.
Alien nigga.
I didn't know he don't.
Oh
Fuck
shit.
you, I'm
that's
split pushing. I'm never coming to another lane again. Fuck you guys.
If Jarvan's with me, maybe I'll be able to handle him. Maybe.
I'm taking his camps then.
He is in mid with me right now.
I'm gonna win by split pushing guys somewhere.
Never coming to another lane again.
Nope.
Ooh, my
I will
special
stay top.
delivery is here. Let me go get that. Well, I enjoy Corky. I just need my mid laner not to roam off and feed off of other idiots.
Well, that's hard to ask of for that mid laner.
Oh, level 1 early game? Yeah, she couldn't handle me. She went and got fed elsewhere. Came back and then tore me up. That's why I'm 1-3.
Kiana, I will fuck you up.
Yeah, I gotta get chat on Corky. I think he would do well with Corky. Like I said, his builders are simple, but they're effective. And they're so skillful. Like, they're mostly skill shots. Yeah, I'm trying to bait him. I see you.
She stunned me. If she didn't stun me, I would have killed her.
Nah, somebody wouldn't should have walked in lane like that. I was trying to bait him.
No, it's all good.
I imagine, yeah, you want to stack his E next.
Yeah, they fed the shit out of Lux.
Yeah, I'm not sure why you keep going bot. That's over with.
It's not even this vein, it's just
We're gonna
Lux.
5-man bot.
Well, I know it's not the vein. I'm not sure why you keep on going bot. You're not gonna get anything out of it.
I want that damn bounty.
The veins 3, 1, and 6. She's got Kraken. Yeah, you're not gonna get them. He went Varus.
When there's a will, there's a way.
10 deaths later. I got the shot down.
Told you.
Our towers are gone.
We got this for Ferald.
Fucked up, messed up, shawty, I be tripping. I'm gonna be dead off the mercs and all this.
Are one of them gonna come gank me? No.
Help, Austin.
Yeah, I'm coming.
Wait, what's
Someone.
happening?
He's not paying attention to his map.
Not at this moment in time, I'm not.
You should always pay attention to your map.
Like, dude,
Yep, I knew that was gonna happen.
that's fine. Let me kill him, please.
Obviously, he still keeps Rift.
Well, let's take this mid turn. That seems very balanced.
What? Corky's thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's his E and his W. His W launches over minions and scorches
Damn,
away.
Rek'Sai shreds turrets.
Oh,
I think I give a
you take him with you?
No, she went invisible, I think.
How?
I
Oh,
don't know.
you know what she did? She popped alt and then Q'd. That's right. When you have Vayne and alt and Q. Well, while your alt's
Rek'Sai
up.
destroys fucking turrets. Holy
Yeah.
cow.
Imagine with a Hull Breaker. I mean, I know it's not a common jungler item, but
Hey, you missed, bitch.
yeah, just imagine with a Hull Breaker though.
Yeah.
That might be a thing you could do. Not every game, but like some games just for the fun of it. Just run Hull Breaker
Yeah.
and just become a tower destroyer. Oh, I got dip out of here. Yeah, I need to dip.
We're about a full door. How to get ready for war.
They recommend Mana Moon, but I don't know if I really need it. I'm not having that bad of issues with um,
11 is 30 in this chopper hold a 50-minute. I heard them nigga Mickey.
they recommend Essence River. I'll go Essence River. That's what they recommend.
On my dick, trying to get a hickey.
Oh, I just left base. My missile or my package got delivered.
What did your package give you?
The package arrives in your phone and picked up for 50 seconds. When equipped, he gains Ghosted, movement speed, and upgrades Valkyrie, one of his other abilities, his W. So like his Valkyrie, he can go further with it, or how he can jump, and I get Ghosted and movement speed. So basically I come out of base, charge it down lane, and I can rush over shit. So it's not like insane, it's just good for coming back to base in moments. Because I get it every 6 minutes? after 8 minutes.
Don't you smite this fucking...
It's my fucking jungle, bitch. Fuck you.
Fuck you.
You're just mad I got that kill.
Goddamn right.
You're pissed.
He's
I
3
should,
and 1,
like,
105
hey, bro.
CS, and he's upset.
KS and the guy that's literally got fed early game. Why not keep him fed?
We need Rek'Sai fed, we need me fed.
Hey, motherfucker, listen here.
Need to share the kills.
It's just logical sense.
No, I'm 5 and 5. Fuck you.
Yeah, see?
And?
I can't say
I got
chance,
fed early
'cause I'm
game just as
not
much as you
fed.
did.
Cap.
That's not cap. I just didn't get as fit as quick. Oh, I dodged that perfectly. Women's hoes love me. I am such a slimy guy. Nigga, do not touch me. Nigga, I'ma bust you way before you bust me.
Yeah, mid got my ass. You should have seen it level 1. I had her push the tower for like minutes straight. She couldn't move.
I'm about to literally fuck this vein in the ass. Oh, no, I'm not buried. Never mind.
As far as it's not fed Jarvan, I usually see Jarvan's just feeding like crazy.
They're all in this shit. Why are... Okay. I'm coming. No, I think this is a really fucking stupid idea.
Oh! Awesome wasn't with us. I thought he was with us. My bad. I thought he was with us.
No, we should not have done that.
Well,
Fucking stupid.
we were gonna sandwich them. You were in front. There's 3 of us in the back. I thought we were all gonna sandwich.
Yeah, Rek'Sai's bar is fucking amazing. There's no escaping him.
I just think it said they were
The
contesting.
perking of a mannequin, yeah. Walking the sky like a mannequin, yeah. Dude. Ouch. Fuck you, bitch.
Well, no, essentially it's a 4v4. What am I saying? Because Varus is useless.
I thought that bitch gonna swallow my kids. I ain't even had no family.
What?
Fuck what I did. Fuck all the damage I'm trying to kill you. You bring me to Mimi.
Malphite's coming in from the side, behind.
Whoa, what the fuck? Alright.
Yeah, she has Rabadons. She's super fed. Malphite's coming in from behind. Oh, sad. Well, it's not gonna end well at all. Yeah. What you doing, Gwen? No, we lose this game.
Hmm. I have 2 health. We can end here. I'm coming.
Well, shit. I thought we lose that game. Or this game.
Alright, well, I'm about to head to bed.
I gotta do the same since we're gonna get up early in the morning.
Yep.
Oh,
Alright, well. Oh, you know what? I'm actually curious. Did my dad end up pirating
Let's
those fucking...
go, dude. Second game with Gwen got a fucking S? It is it?
I'm actually curious if my dad pirated those fucking,
I mean, you had no
Arcane. Because I am going to binge watch that shit tonight. Hold on. The fuck is my goddamn remote? I hate losing Amazon Prime sticks.
Mm.
Or especially when you're laying in fucking bed and you lose it. Oh, it's the worst. Start feeling everywhere trying to find it and shit. There it is. Fucking bitch, come here. Cody.
Alright, I'm out.
Alright,
Don't forget to. Yep. Okay.
there he goes. Oh,
Have a good night, man.
there he is. What the hell's my mic is not working half the time now. What? Whatever.
Look at all my light puns that have brightened your day. Captain Timo on duty.
watching. Stay focused.
Seconds until minions spawn.
Porting in.
Minions have spawned. An enemy has been slain. An ally has been slain.
That's gonna sting. I'll stop again. Yes, sir.
Shut down.
Armed and ready. Yes, sir. Up, 2, 3, 4.
Turret plating will fall soon.
Reporting in.
Shut down.
Not so fast. That's gotta sting.
Triple kill. An enemy has been slain. Your turret has been destroyed. An ally has been slain.
Reporting in. I'll scout ahead. Reporting in. Yes, sir.
Shut down. Rampage. An enemy has been slain.
2, 3, 4.
Shut down.
That's gotta sting.
An ally has been slain.
Swiftly!
Your team has destroyed a turret.
That's gotta sting. Reporting in. Armed and ready.
Your team has destroyed a turret. An enemy has been slain. been slain. You have been slain. Your team has destroyed an inhibitor. Unstoppable. Unstoppable.
Yes, sir.
Dominating. Dominating.
Reporting in.
Shut down.
Armed and ready.
Your team has destroyed a turret. Your team has destroyed a turret. Shut down. Enemy double kill. Your team has destroyed a turret.
I'll stop ahead.
Shut down.
Not so fast. Two, three, four.
Double kill. An enemy is unstoppable. Aced.
Bring down the hammer.
Your team has destroyed an inhibitor. Victory!
Turns out there's a lot of iPhones. And no matter what you think about the iPhone, the first iPhone, this guy right here, the original, it's pretty legendary. It was unveiled at Macworld 2007. It was shown off in a glass case. It had that memorable Steve Jobs moment on stage, an iPod, a phone, a breakthrough internet communicator. These aren't all three separate devices, this is one device. It was pretty clear Apple had something pretty special on their hands at that moment, and you can mark that day on the calendar as a pretty obvious inflection point towards getting to where smartphones are today. Now today, we're all the way up to iPhone 13. Lucky 13. And actually the 13 is a lineup of phones. It's a bunch of phones. And they all have world-class cameras, lots of proprietary silicon, way more software features, and it's a tightly packed collection of parts that would have been basically impossible back in 2007. So clearly a lot has happened since then. So today, I've got every single iPhone that's ever been released, 1 through 13, and I'm gonna review them all. Now, some of them I've seen before, some of them I've never even touched or held. It's the first time I've ever gotten them in the studio, and now they're working. So I just wanted to look back and see how far these phones have come, and it's actually pretty incredible when you put them all next to each other. So join me. Also, stay tuned for the graphs at the end. We got some good graphs. So January 9th, 2007, the first iPhone. So here's a fun fact. There's an article from The Guardian that shows that apparently 6 out of 10 Americans knew that an iPhone was coming before it was officially unveiled. So this was an incredibly hyped thing, but it came out, and when it finally did, it was immediately pretty recognizable. You've got this two-tone design, metal up top, plastic at the bottom for all the antenna pass through, a very recessed headphone jack that actually prevented lots of non-Apple headphones from working with it. And this thing here really set the tone for the rounded corners, the flat front, and the general UI of completely depending on a multi-touch screen for everything, including a virtual keyboard, which was pretty bold at the time. Now, it had a bunch of things missing. So it had no app store on it when it launched. So basically you could use the included apps and that's it. And there were some good ones, you know, Safari's here, there's a YouTube app, Google Maps was included, there's a stock and weather app, but you couldn't get anything else. You also couldn't even set a wallpaper. Every single non-jailbroken original iPhone was rocking the same wallpaper. Absolutely nothing, pitch black. All these numbers too are pretty hilarious, but let's just put them out there for context. 3.5-inch display, 2 megapixel camera on the back. It launched with a 4 or 8 gigabyte storage version, and the starting price was $499, which was pretty expensive for a phone. It's one of the most recognizable phones ever. It's the only one that had a SIM card tray at the top. It's the only two-tone iPhone they ever made. And fun fact, this launched well, it was announced in January, but then it didn't actually launch until 5 months later, in June basically. And then, not till another 8 months later did they drop a 16 gig version. But you know, looking back, even though it obviously had a lot objectively wrong with it and a bunch of things missing about it, there was clearly a lot about the original iPhone that stood out that was better than what was out on the market, and that's why it had such an impact. But there was a sequel, and that sequel was the iPhone 3G. So this was called the 3G, not the iPhone 2, because it was the first one using a 3G network instead of Edge, and there were some big changes. First of all, it does feel a lot more like a refined version of the original iPhone, actually. It's all black plastic now, just smooth, like a pebble, mainly because it's way more tapered, so it actually feels and looks thinner, but that actually does lose you some space on the inside, so the battery in this phone is actually smaller than the original iPhone. The volume rocker and the iconic mute switch that are already here kind of blend into the side now though, but software-wise, this was another big step. Originally, there were no plans for an app store, like I said. First one didn't have it. Steve Jobs said everyone should make web apps for Safari, but they changed course and reconsidered, so this phone launched with the App Store, which started with 500 apps in it, and we all know how that skyrocketed from there. So this is iPhone OS 2 on the iPhone 3G. Then we got the iPhone 3GS, the first ever S update. S here, we could safely assume, is for speed, but also you could say it stands for silver because really the only difference on the outside is the text on the back of the phone goes from gray to reflective silver. Other than that, this phone's the exact same design and dimensions. You could fit the same cases as the 3G, but the internals all got upgraded. So it's a faster chip made by Samsung that is literally twice as fast. Toss in 256 megabytes of RAM and a 3 megapixel camera and a slightly larger battery. You got yourself an S update. But looking back at it today, I could also argue the S stood for software because it got some pretty big features again. iPhone OS 3 finally added cut, copy, and paste, finally. And believe it or not, this was the first year the iPhone could actually record videos in the camera app, along with autofocus and auto white balance. I also noticed the vibration motor got a lot better on the 3GS. It's a little smoother and less rattly than the first two. Now, this is also the first iPhone that had a major gate attached to it. So there was a white version of the 3GS, and it started having weird discoloration issues. Turned out to be because of heat. So Apple ended up just recommending that people not leave their phone in a car for a long time in the sun, or not use their phone for an extended period of time on a hot day. Not ideal, kind of a classic Apple response, but turned out to be fine. So iPhone 4, I think I can safely say, was their best new design, and maybe their best design ever. It was hyped into oblivion from that famous Gizmodo leak before launch, but it eventually was revealed, and we still see shades of this iPhone in today's iPhones. So first of all, it only launched in one color, black. They had to make a special white version later. But it's got the new square design that at the time on stage was called the thinnest smartphone on the planet at 9.4 millimeters. And you know, there were a couple others that were a little thinner, but more importantly, it's all flat sides now on all the sides. It's more grippable, it's more iconic, it's got the circular individual volume buttons, it's all glass and stainless steel. It's pretty sweet. But then the feature list, this phone also
Just look at it. That's ridiculous. So, as I've been making other videos over the last few months, I've also been gathering 7 of the rarest, strangest smartphones you've ever seen. So number 7 is the Galaxy S4 Zoom. I got a bit lucky with this one. I logged onto eBay and it was sitting in front of me. But this is a special phone, because while it might seem like just a standard 2013 device from the front, turn it over and you realize we've got a bit of an imposter on our hands. But do you want to know the crazy part? All of this stuff is just there so that this phone can have 10 times optical zoom. The modern day Galaxy S21 Ultra also has 10 times optical zoom. It's just, this one doesn't look like it's been let loose in an all-you-can-eat buffet. Samsung wasn't wrong about zoom being a key selling point in the future. It's just that soon after this phone came out, companies figured out a more efficient way of doing it. See, the traditional method, and how it was done on the S4 Zoom, as well as just generally point-and-shoot cameras, is to have a whole load of stacked bits of glass that, by changing the distance between them, can magnify things without losing quality. But then came the eureka moment of multiple cameras. What if, instead of just one camera that you have to put all of this movable glass in front of, so it can reach all of these different magnifications, we just have 2 fixed cameras, one that can capture a wide view and one that can capture that zoomed view. This worked so well that in 2021, every single smartphone uses this technology. And if we test these two phones side by side, I mean, obviously we are comparing 2013 to 2021 here, but it's just cool that we're now at a stage where in most aspects, this clever engineering paired with a bit of software magic can outperform last gen's pure optics. Number 6 is the No Phone. Number 6 is the No Phone, and it kind of looks like the pinnacle of stupidity, but it worked. And thanks to Huel for sponsoring this video. Ouch. So this is the packaging, and it's probably its best feature. No, literally, you can do more things with the bag it came in than the thing itself. And is it just me, or does this No Phone look suspiciously like another not so innovative device? But what this company did is played on the growing sentiment that tech is ruining our lives. They said to people, do you feel the constant urge to have your phone with you? To which most people probably said yes. Do you wish you could be less attached to it? To which most people probably also said yes. The solution is simple. Hold our thing instead. People bought their vision, this idea that the No Phone was effectively the anti-smartphone, how it's branded as taking 0-megapixel photos and having 0 gigabytes of storage, and how it's toilet bowl resistant. Because it's a sheet of plastic. It was fully funded on Kickstarter. The creators were invited to all manner of interviews and even a TED Talk, and they're still selling them today, 6 years later. Although when I tried to get one, there was a serious stock shortage, and it took them like an extra month to get it to me. But that's even crazier. They're selling bundles, the couple's cure, the family plan, even the employee gift pack. And they released a follow-up device. I really wish I was joking, but this is an actual product. And I'm just sat here trying to think, what would the returns process look like on this? Hey, my No Phone... it's... So this was John Scully, the guy who kind of replaced Steve Jobs back in the day. And his idea was interesting, that most $200 budget devices at the time were purely functional. They had little to no attention given to hardware design or even software design. So Scully created the company OB with the goal of producing phones that had that Apple brag factor, that designed in Silicon Valley coolness, but for emerging markets like India and Africa. And just given the fact that Apple has got such a reputation for only doing things when they know they're going to be huge, the sky was the limit here. And I'd even go as far as to say that the presentation was promising. It was a great demonstration of how the company could make something both premium and practically priced. It's just, for a fashion-focused device, it sure does look an awful lot like a toilet seat. The bottom is rounded, the top is flat. It genuinely looks like the company built a rounded phone first, and then realized, wait a second, this just looks like every other phone. Make it different. And I think this kind of mentality is also what led them to a screen that is raised above the rest of the phone. I think the idea was to prevent your fingers resting on the display itself, but yes, this is as impractical as it looks. More fundamentally though, if you're entering a new market with a new product and a new brand, then the one thing that you've got to absolutely make sure you're doing is solving a problem that people are having. Because yes, you could argue they have built a cooler phone for people who like toilets, but for the majority of the markets they were targeting, being visually unique was far from the primary concern. So it flopped. They went back to the drawing board, relaunched, and it flopped again. And it wasn't long before John Scully just straight up started denying his involvement with the company. Pretty fun story. But now is where things start to get really curious. This is the K1 Impulse, marketed as the most secure device on the planet. And I gotta start by saying, this is easily top 5 smartphone unboxing experiences that I've probably ever had. So, if we take off the wrapper and the sleeve, we're left with 2 magnetic doors. And inside them is everything you could possibly expect, but also everything that you probably didn't. We've got the phone, which says, "Privacy is the new order." Feels like I'm joining a cult. We've got a beefy insert with a whole menu of paperwork, as well as a very unusually shaped case. And, of course, you can take this layer off. And as well as just a charger and a USB-C cable, you get a full 3-course meal of travel adapters. But then we go back to the top layer again, and you find a carbon fiber wireless charging pad, a pair of really quite high-end wireless earphones with a display on top that shows battery percentage. And then, take off this middle part and you've got 3 private keys, which will make sense in a minute, and then what is this? If anyone has any idea, just let me know. And if you thought it couldn't get any stranger, well, I mean, just look at it. Long story short, this may come as a surprise after that ridiculously embellished unboxing experience, but this phone was a scam. The company had built their own supposedly ultra-secure crypto data OS. These keys, you're actually meant to plug them into the phone so you can enter your own secure vault. And it's the weirdest thing, they tried to legitimize their own security by inviting people to hack them. First thing you see on this website is, hack us for $1 million. Could you ever imagine, like, any legitimate company doing this? And their number one selling point was that this was the first and only phone to run voice over blockchain protocol, or VOBUP. I mean, if we're all inventing words here, then a sub to the channel would be PUPLEBIB. You've probably heard a fair bit about the blockchain. It's the basis of Bitcoin, but at its core, it's just a decentralized way of storing data so that it doesn't belong to any one single person or company. But the issue with blockchain is that it's just not very well understood by most. So this company basically tried to use that ambiguity to make it seem like it had almost magical properties. They said to people things like, you get unlimited storage for free, because blockchain. Anyways, just before this phone came out, the guys behind it were suspected of a scam involving cryptocurrency. And it was bad timing because all of a sudden people were like, wait a second, is anything they said actually true? And sure enough, under scrutiny, it turns out that the private keys were just flash drives. Almost every article covering the launch was a paid article by the company. And in the name of supposed security, most basic smartphone features like Gmail, social media, and even importing contacts did not work. And for everyone who messaged their helpline to try and get some support on this, they either got completely blanked, or they got given a 200-word essay on how these were the necessary precautions needed for VOBUP to work. Also, I'm getting the sinking feeling that what they've actually done here is just bought a cheap phone from China and then stuck this fancy casing around it and made it their own. Because otherwise, why does this look suspiciously like a 3D printed cutout? And why else would it have not one, but two sets of bezels? It's very suspicious. And customers soon started to worry that by buying this phone, and by having used it to manage their own cryptocurrency wallets, they'd inadvertently given the company behind this phone full access to their crypto accounts. And so they were worried that this company could effectively steal their money, which they were suspected of in this other scam, and then remotely brick their device with a software update. Pretty scary stuff. Okay, number 2 is rare. So rare that I couldn't find a single unopened one of these on the entire internet. And the only one that I could find literally came delivered to me in a lunchbox. The ultimate in reusable packaging, I guess. It's just a shame that there are no sandwiches included. Welcome to the Turing phone. And I've got to say, apart from the fact that this kind of feels like holding a pair of scissors on the wrong end, I think it looks gorgeous. It's an almost modular aesthetic, with each panel having a slightly different soft-touch matte finish, with one of them just straight-up dragon-scale texture. It's weird that it works, but I think it does work. And the whole thing is apparently built from liquid morphium, which is stronger than steel. But what is it? Well, picture this. It's 2015. We've had the Galaxy S6, the iPhone 6S, but Turing Robotic Industries just comes out of nowhere and says, hold up, we've got a phone that not just outspecs them, but is encrypted to keep your privacy. I wonder where we've heard that one before. These phones did get made, or at least like a few of them did, but most sources say that not a single one got delivered to customers. Somewhere along the line, I think it really hit this company just how hard it is to make a fully working smartphone, and how they really needed more than the 50 employees they had to do it. You know, of all markets, I'd be willing to bet that the smartphone market is probably one of the hardest for new companies to enter. It feels like everyone wants a stab at it, but at the same time, 80% of the market is controlled by literally 6 companies. Anyways, where this gets interesting is that after the Turing phone didn't work out, Turing Robotic Industries kind of started to fall into a bit of a downward spiral. They'd lost some of their reputation, so what do? They try to tease an even more extreme phone to stay on people's minds, the Turing Phone Cadenza, with, get this, an IMAX 6K quad camera, a supercapacitor battery paired with a hydrogen fuel cell, and dual Snapdragon 830 chips, which are products that never actually existed. And so when that too inevitably ended up with nothing, they went even crazier. They changed their name to Turing Space Industries and teased something called the Hubble phone with, you know what, it's not even worth going through this spec sheet. It didn't happen. And so, the supposed encryption and the liquid morphium that we're getting here, well, I'm having my doubts, but no one's tested it because no one got the phone. If you look at this company's bio, they describe themselves as a mobile technology company which develops technologies based on decentralized authentication methodology using static key exchange with an anonymous key distribution infrastructure. Point is, the one thing to take away from this video is that if a company can't tell you what they're doing for you in simple terms, then there's a pretty good chance that they're trying to hide something. Also, fun fact, I found a Reddit thread from someone who applied to work for these guys, and as part of his interview, he was tasked with doing what seems an awful lot like their job for them. They basically gave him like a 2-week-long assignment, which involved building an app from scratch with a really specific set of functions. Clever, but very sneaky. Okay, finally, the thinnest smartphone in the world. I knew I wanted to see one of these in person. I had no idea how to get one. I set up eBay alerts in case anyone listed one. I've trawled through sites like AliExpress and GearBest probably once every 2 weeks in case any seller found they still had inventory. Nothing. And so just before I was about to pretty much ditch the entire video idea, I thought, let me just message Vivo, just in case, no expectations. And so I did, and they even warned me like, this is probably not going to happen, the phone is long discontinued. But 1 month later, I was just doing something completely different, and I got an out-the-blue email saying, we found it. And here we are. So, this is the Vivo X5 Max. It's a pretty understated package for a phone with this prestigious a title. You get the device on top, and then earphones, charger, and manuals. Let's do this. Clearly the outer plastic wasn't built to wait 7 years. Okay, let me give you some perspective. The ROG Phone 5 is 10.3mm thick. The OnePlus 9 is 8.7mm thick. The iPhone 12 mini, this tiny thing, is 7.4mm thick. This is 4.75. The phone feels almost two-dimensional compared to what I'm used to. I'm pretty sure I've had rulers that are thicker than this. But do you want to know the funny part? They've still managed to get a headphone jack on there. You can actually see that the metal trim of the phone is so narrow that they've had to cut into the backplate just so it fits. Which goes to show that if a company wants to put a headphone jack on a phone, they can put a headphone jack on the phone. And the crazy part of this is that this is 2015. Could you imagine if we wanted to build the thinnest phone in the world now, in 2021, with all our performance and efficiency improvements? We could probably make a better phone that's 3.75mm. But it's just that priorities have changed. In 2021, people want advanced camera systems and 5G and big batteries, and all of these things lead to bulkier phones. Plus, I feel like being this thin is a little counterintuitive, because it's so thin that it's more likely to break, but if you then put a case on it, it's not thin. It's still a beautiful bit of tech to look at, and still an engineering marvel, but I reckon if a company released a really thin phone today, then tons of people would flock to go and see it, but very few of them would actually follow through and buy it. Okay. This is Huel.
Five versus five? What kind of sicko is running this rumble?
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
The world is watching. Stay focused.
Seconds until minions spawn.
Always said I had her temper. I ain't about to lose to that. No tapping out my pit.
Minions have spawned.
Ionia. Place was so damn quiet before I came along.
First blood.
A+ accuracy.
An ally has been slain.
I don't bother with jabs. If you're throwing, throw it hard.
been slain.
Probably shouldn't have worn my nice pants to this. Only thing an honest living makes you is broke. Somewhere out there's a demand that needs supply. Every single one of them thinks they're the one to beat me. Okay. Technique is right weights. I ain't no half-breed. I'm a full-blood one. Hold on. Gotta ice the knuckles. A wise master once said, be like water. Listen, kindness slowly.
Enemy killing spree.
My coat costs more than this whole damn place.
Enemy double kill.
Way more than people with slaves.
An enemy has been slain.
If I ever find my old man, well, I hope it's on train. All words are fighting words. You know who you're messing with? Things I love.
An ally has been slain.
Freaking next. Fine items. I used to risk my neck in the pit making someone else rich. Now, we do it the
Shut
other way.
down.
You better not miss.
Turret plating will fall soon.
Everyone's got a plan until they get slammed into the ground.
Your turret has been destroyed.
Everyone loses. Wow. Almost everyone.
An enemy has been slain.
Must be a fight brewing. My version.
So fast.
I'll be right back. Gotta check on some, legitimate business. They say you learn a lot from a beating. That's true. I've made the whole world smarter. Looks like I brought my fist to a knife fight. Honestly, I feel bad for the knives.
Your team has destroyed a turret. Enemy double kill. destroyed a turret.
Some beatings you just gotta do yourself. I don't have to fight, man.
An ally has been slain. An enemy has been slain. Enemy rampage.
Let me set the Beast Boy bastard. Ha! Now it's set the Beast Man bastard.
Shut down. An enemy is
For the paycheck.
slain an enemy.
Get that money. All men wanna be me.
Dominating.
Started it.
An ally has been slain.
Well, when life gives you lemons, punch life in the throat.
An enemy is godlike.
Mama always said I had her temper. Someone gets their face kicked in. We'll win 3 rounds, then come out swinging. I remember my first fight. I ran home crying to Mama. She wasn't. Everyone loses. Wow. Almost everyone.
An enemy has been slain.
You swing on the boss, you better not miss. Somewhere out there's a demand that needs supplying.
Has been slain.
Okay. Nothing I hate more than people with sleeves.
That gave us away.
Nothing people hate more than a guy who makes something of himself. Some things you just gotta do yourself. Everyone's got a plan until they get
Your turret has been destroyed.
People say they don't like violence, but they all watch. You got guts. Too bad I gotta put my fist in the fire.
Your team has destroyed a turret.
My fur just stood up.
Your team has destroyed a turret. Rampage. Double kill.
Being the boss is a lot of fun, boss.
Your team has destroyed a turret. Rampage. Your team has destroyed an inhibitor.
When you're on top, there's always some
An
chance
enemy has been slain.
of scuffing up your nice shoes.
Your team has destroyed a turret. Your team has destroyed a turret.
They say you learn a lot from a beating. If that's true, I've made the whole world smarter.
So we've got Jacob, him in Alabama, who believes in creation because there's a distinction between humans and other animals. So welcome, Jacob.
Hi, Matt. Yes, so I am a theist, and the reason is pretty much what you said. I believe in creation because to me it seems like animals and humans are just so different, especially the way that we communicate with each other. And wise to some of the animals that communicate better than we do in certain ways, like whales. Like they can communicate farther than we can. But I think that language and the way that we do it has just been so beneficial for us that I can't think that it wasn't created.
Wait, why does the fact that humans communicate better than animals mean that we're created?
We are animals, by the way. Humans are animals, and there are other animals that communicate, including the great apes, who can communicate in sign language to us because we're part of the great apes. But go ahead.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I understand that, and I accept evolution and even common descent and all of that. I just take more of like a deist approach. You know, like I believe that a God set it in motion, and it ultimately led to us having this ability to do this that no other animal species seems to.
So here's the thing. Every scientific exploration of evolution has no room in it for some God to kick it off as a requirement. Why is it that you've reached the conclusion that a God started it off? Do you have evidence for that?
Well, no, I think that science tends to explore different questions than
No, sir. I'm sorry, Jacob. No, sir. I'm sorry, Jacob. Science explores every question that is about a fact of reality. And if you acknowledge that you don't have evidence, if you have acknowledged that you don't have evidence to conclude that a God started off evolution, then what you're saying is you're willing to reach conclusions without evidence. So why should we pay any attention to what your opinion is?
I guess you shouldn't.
Now, I appreciate that, and it's two really honest answers out of you. Here's the other question: why do you?
Well, that was why, was because of communication. But you're right, I can't really draw that to a god for any other reason than I guess I just wanted to. So, yeah, you're probably right. I probably shouldn't think that anymore.
Okay.
Well, that's the conversation, I guess. I don't know where else we go from there.
That might be the
Thanks,
fastest,
guys.
fastest turnaround
Thank
in
you,
history.
Jacob.
But thanks, Jacob.
I think, wow, that doesn't happen very often, does it?
It does not. And while we're queuing up some calls here, I'll do the whole second call and spiel thing here, and that is, if you want to have conversations like that, if you'd like to get into a discussion about God and convince someone to give up their belief in God in 3 minutes and some change, you can try your hand at the Atheist versus Theist debates group that's been set up out there. And you can also, I know that I was on Talk Heathen earlier today, but in between that show and this show, there is the flagship program of the Atheist Experience Network, the nonprofits, which airs Sundays at 3 o'clock. They have crossed the 10,000 subscriber line on YouTube. And so huge thank you to everybody for being supportive of that. If you have not been paying attention to nonprofits or Talk Heathen or any of the other shows that are on there, you can go to tiny.cc/AEN podcasts. That's your one-stop location for all of the ACA shows, including this tiny little show that airs on Friday nights called Truth Wanted, starring some guy.
I wouldn't watch it, to be honest with you.
I don't know. It's
like okay.
aliens and bugbears and chupacabra and
we just had a great we just had a great Thanksgiving episode where somebody said I looked like a 90s German techno singer, and we went through all my hate comments. So definitely take a look at that. Pretty fun stuff.
Get the hate comments out there. It's good stuff. And part of the reason that you can get those things as audio podcasts there is because of these people who make everything happen in front of the scenes, behind the scenes. There's even Crew Cat there today. They're screening calls, and here's a call almost guaranteed to be short and get my pulse going, and that's Satuf, the fake name. Pronouns are she, her. She's calling us from Spain. So welcome, Satuf. What is your issue today? Because you're claiming that I'm irrational on morality.
Hello, Matt. Thanks for taking my call. Yes, that's my claim, that you are quite irrational on many issues on morality.
Okay, just pick one.
Yeah, today I'll just go with the abortion issue.
Okay. What's my position on abortion?
Well, I think you say that abortion should be legal. And
yes, I'm in favor of legal abortion, yes. But that's separate from my position on the morality of it.
Yeah, I think you've stated that you don't even care about its morality.
I don't care what you think the morality of abortion is. I have an opinion on the morality of abortion, but if you're going to call in to say that I'm irrational, that my position on abortion's morality is irrational, you should know what my position is, and you should be able to make a case for why I'm irrational.
Well, I just stated that your position is that it should be legal, and that you say you don't care about its morality.
And I just corrected you and said that while I do in fact care whether it should be legal, when I say I don't care whether it's moral, what I'm saying is I don't care if you consider it to be moral or immoral, because that's not how we determine what should be legal or not. There are things that are legal that are in fact immoral, and there are things that are not illegal which are in fact moral.
So you think it's moral?
You called to tell me I was irrational. My position on abortion was irrational. You're either going to make the case that I'm irrational or I'm going to hang up. I'm not going to sit here and be quizzed by you when you don't even know my position.
Okay, I've heard you many times use the violinist analogy, and I believe it's flawed. And I tried to put it out this last week, and instead of having a discussion, you just dropped the call immediately when you heard.
I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you this one time, Satoof. I'm going to drop this call in about 5 seconds if you don't actually start making a case. Because if you just call to whine about what happened last time, you're going to be very disappointed by what happens this time. So make your case for what your position on abortion is.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
Well, I can explain to you why I think you are being irrational, and that is because your analogy, which you
Satoof, this is the last time I'm going to interrupt you without hanging up. I said, get to your fucking point. No more preamble, no more attempt to whine, no more telling me what you can do. Make your case or go the fuck away.
Minions have spawned.
Okay, my case is that your analogy is flawed and thus irrational. But if that's not what you want to hear, then you can drop the call.
That's not a case. That's a claim. You're just saying, I think it's irrational. That doesn't mean anything.
Your is flawed, and you can drop the call. You're damn right I can. You know what else I can do? You're welcome to ban Satoof, you fake name person there. You don't know how to make a case? Go away.
Listen, I'm not hating on people with fake names. You know, contrary to popular belief.
His name is Fetus with letters switched. He's obsessed about this.
Oh, I didn't notice that. Okay, I was just gonna say my birth certificate doesn't actually say objectively Dan, so I'm all right with people.
I have tons of friends. I have tons of friends in the community who don't go by their real name.
Yeah, minor point. But yeah, if you're gonna call in and you're gonna say, I think this person is wrong, tell us why you think they're wrong. Don't just say, I don't like this person because I think they're irrational. Okay, that's great, but why? We want to know why so we can have a conversation about it, because just saying, I don't like this person, it's hard to work with that, you know?
Here's the other thing. We actually do want people to call in and have conversations. What we don't want is somebody to call in with the bone that they won't let go, no matter how many times they've been pointed out they're wrong, and then for them to call in and whine about how they were treated or mistreated or whatever else on the show over and over and over again. That's not what makes the show good. Get in, make your point, have a discussion, move on. That's the way things should work. And by the way, if I'm not on the show and you call in to talk to the people who are on the show to complain about what I said or did, they should hang up on you and ban you, because they're not here to defend me. Dan,
I've had that happen. I've had that happen on Truth Wanted at least one time, where somebody was like, well, Matt says this, and I'm like, I'm not fucking Matt. He's not here. What are you talking to me about? Like, yeah, it is funny.
We have essentially, after multiple attempts, successfully aborted Sita from calling into the show.
Ooh, man. Yeah, yes, we did. Yes, we did.
Your time and calls is terminated. However, we have Marlon here in Philippines who thinks that the abilities of animals is proof of God. So welcome, Marlon. How are you?
Hi, Matt. I miss you.
You miss me?
Yeah.
I'm right here. What do you got?
By the way, I would like to talk about inborn talents being the fruit of the power of God, as well as the fact that there are animals capable of doing what most humans can do. For example,
before you get to an example.
And dancing bears.
So how is that proof of God? The fact that so we're animals, we can do some impressive things. There are other animals who can do other impressive things. How is any animal doing something that is impressive proof of God?
Did you read about the story of Elijah? There are ravens that send him pieces of bread. That's not different from a dog bringing your slippers to your fireplace. In fact, I have a bird that brings
Marlon,
go ahead.
I don't think you answered his question at all. He asked you, why does animals doing impressive things? What does that have to do with God? What's the connection there?
Book of Genesis that says that God created everything. There's even a Chinese kid, 5-year-old.
Marlon, you're muted. I want you to listen very carefully because I have a heart condition. I'm trying to be patient. I've asked you, and Dan asked you. We are both willing to acknowledge that animals have done some amazing things. Human beings, of course, have done lots of things that we're impressed by, but other animals have done things we're impressed by too. And yet, Dan and I have both seen those things, and we don't see how an animal doing something impressive is proof of God. We're asking you, how and why should we conclude that an animal doing something impressive is proof of God?
Man, I saw a documentary once about a golden retriever who did stuff for a basketball team. It's called Air Bud, and it was really cool. I mean, yeah, you're right. Animals have done a lot of cool things, but don't
so
see
Marlon,
the connection.
if a dog brings me my slippers, how is that proof of God?
Hey man, what happens in the Bible that happens in real life is
Okay, Marlon, either you're not listening or you're not real. I don't care what the Bible says. I'm asking you, how is it the case that if an animal does something impressive, that this is proof of God? If you cannot make that case, we're going to move on.
I mean, it is from the natural system. God created the system to work as part of the fine-tuning.
Yeah, goodbye.
Yeah. There was no through line there that I could tell. So
yeah,
just gotta move on, I guess.
The
There's a lot of people saying. Have you noticed this theme today, Matt? Where people are saying there's this amazing thing, therefore God. Like that's literally been the line of a couple of arguments today. An interesting thing.
So for the call screeners, I was going to take Billy, and when I clicked on talk, it dropped the call. So I think I hit a bug in call-in studio, and so
might have to refresh maybe.
Billy, if you're still watching, I was going to take the call, and then it got dropped. So call us back.
Well, we still got a couple other ones in the queue. Should we take some of those?
We do. And we have Kevin in New York who wants to know what our problem is with premise 2 of the Kalam. Is that right, Kevin?
Yeah, that's correct. So,
Okay, let's assume for a second that I don't have any problem with premise 2. I'm just not convinced of it.
Okay. So where do you want to proceed from there?
Well, somebody needs to prove that premise 1 is true, and somebody needs to prove that premise 2 is true.
Yeah, so to this extent, I suppose that what I would then ask is how you might respond to the two traditional philosophical arguments that have been adduced in favor of premise 2. I mean, mind you, I just want to preface this by saying I'm not necessarily convinced by them, but those are the arguments from successive addition and the arguments from Hill.
So here we go. The Kalam cosmological argument. Premise 1, everything that begins to exist has a cause for its existence. Premise 2, the universe began to exist. Conclusion, therefore the universe has a cause for its existence. Now, premise 1 is something that hasn't been demonstrated, and I don't think it could be, because it's a declaration about everything, and it's saying that everything that begins to exist has a cause for its existence. We don't know that that's the case. We don't know what the limits of causality are. But premise 2 is the universe began to exist. And this is subject to some problems, because what do we mean by universe? Are we talking about all that exists? Are we talking about the cosmos? Are we talking about multiverse? Are we talking about our local presentation of the universe? Because Big Bang cosmology seems to support the notion that our local presentation of the universe began to exist, but that time also began to exist along with that, and so there was no point without a universe. And so I have objections to both of those premises, but you can point it to as many things as you want about successive addition, etc. And the fact of the matter is, even if the Kalam cosmological argument is sound, it only proves that the universe had a cause for its existence. It's not an argument for the existence of a God, and therefore it's irrelevant. God isn't present in the premises or the conclusion of the argument, and so it's not relevant to the existence of God. And until somebody can show me that here's what we mean by universe, and it definitely began to exist, in which case I'll accept premise 2, but I still haven't had any reason to accept premise 1. So the Kalam is a waste of time.
Yep, I think you summed up my thoughts too.
All right. Okay. Thank you for saying your thoughts in a very eloquent way. I suppose that what my first question then is, in response to what you just said, is that when you say everything begins to exist as a cause is problematic because it's quantifying over everything, couldn't you then modify the premise to say something such as, if something begins to exist, then it has a cause. So instead of speaking about everything,
you could modify it, but it would mean exactly the same thing. And how would you prove it? Because the everything there is still implied, and we don't know about causality in some circumstances. So you can change the wording of it, and it won't change the problem with it. If you change the wording to some things that begin to exist have a cause for their existence, I will accept the premise immediately, because some things that begin to exist have a cause for their existence is demonstrably true. But is there anything that didn't begin to exist?
Is there anything that didn't begin to exist? You could argue that abstract objects didn't begin to exist, or if you're a moral realist, then moral facts wouldn't begin to exist.
I'm sorry, one more time?
Yeah, sorry, maybe sorry. If you could argue that abstract objects, if you're a Platonist, might not begin to exist, or if you're a moral realist, like Peter Railton, you might think that moral facts didn't begin to exist.
Yeah, but I don't care about. So okay, now we are involved in some absolute philosophical bullshit that is a huge waste of time. Because all I was asking is there something that exists that did not begin to exist? And when we're talking about things that exist, we're not talking about abstractions or opinions about moral facts. We're talking about things, empirical things.
Okay, sure. I understand that point, and I'll modify it slightly, and maybe this will be a little bit more grounded.
Can we stop? Kevin, can you fix both premises of the Kalam? And if so, will that change the fact that the Kalam does not point to a god at all?
Yeah, so...
Whoa. You just said yes? That you can fix that and it will make it matter even though it doesn't point to a god at all?
If you, taking your criticisms on board, I think that if you modify the Kalam slightly, there's a more sympathetic interpretation that you could yield, such that the conclusion of the argument is more explicitly bears out the fact that the cause of the universe would have to be personal. Again, I'm not necessarily convinced by the argument, but I'm saying that I think that there's a stronger formulation that you can put forward. So when you attack it, you're steel manning the argument, so to speak. But yeah, I think there is a way of doing it.
Are you going to add God to either of the premises?
It's in the conclusion. And
no, sir. Nothing gets to be in the conclusion unless it's in the premises. That's an invalid structure. Are you adding God to the premises?
Technically, yes, because you argue that.
Okay, let's hear it. Let's hear it, because now you no longer have the Kalam cosmological argument. You have your specific version of something that you're saying is similar to a Kalam cosmological argument that is an argument for God. So let's have it. What's premise 1?
Yeah. Right, sure. So this is from the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy. So this is how one version goes. Everything that begins to exist has a cause of its existence. So that's just premise 1. Premise 2, the universe began to exist. 3, therefore the universe has a cause of its existence. Then premise.
Oh, Kevin, stop, because now you're irritating me. Okay? I asked you if you were going to come up with a new version of the Kalam that included God, and you said yes. And what are you doing? You're reading the version that I just rattled off the top of my head.
Okay. Sure. So I think that essentially what I'm trying to say, yeah, I mean, there is...
Are you going to present an argument for the existence of God, or are we done?
Oh no, okay, I can do it. Okay, so here's...
Then stop wasting my fucking time and do it.
Okay.
What's premise 1?
Yeah, there exists a series of causes and effects and changes, and the number of earlier entities is either actually infinite or finite. Premise 2, the number of earlier entities is finite, then either earlier and later entities are joined together like a loop, such that there is no first member in the series, or the series has a first member, in other words, a first cause and a first change, in other words, a first event. It is not the number of earlier entities is actually...
Goodbye, Kevin. Neither of your premises include the word God, and therefore God cannot be in the conclusion. I'm sorry that you've managed to waste time on an argument that doesn't do what you said it could do.
Yep.
Moving on.
Yeah, that's
if
Kalam.
If there exists a series of causes, effects, and changes, it's either actually infinite or not infinite. So you've moved on from the Kalam cosmological argument to a version of the first cause argument, which also doesn't include God.
Yeah, and
no
God
wonder you identify as an agnostic, Kevin.
I don't think God would solve the problem of infinite regress either, so it's a moot point. But
well, it's fine because I'm thrilled that we have Billy from the UK, who I accidentally dropped, or who a bug accidentally dropped, back on to talk to us about religious discussions getting sidetracked for seeking a definition of God. So thanks. Welcome, Billy.
Hi. Is that Matt? Can you hear me?
Yep, Matt and Dan, we're both here.
That's right.
Hi. I'm a little bit nervous, but so my point is that let me start with the explaining how it can sometimes go. How often hear conversations go. Atheists are very offended by inconsistencies and absurd things in, for example, the Bible, which I understand because I have been very offended by it as well for this reason, and so they express their feeling, and Christians or religious people will try to patch up the inconsistencies and show them that there's a way to interpret it that's consistent and comprehensive and reasonable. But my point is that if there is a greater power than us, if there are things that we experience which are beyond our strength to express and comprehend, but are shown to us by a greater power, then we won't be able to produce a comprehensive, consistent description of God or of the greater power. If we could produce a comprehensive description, then we would be above that. We would be over.
No, sir, that's absolutely not true. I can describe things without being greater than those things. We're not looking for an exhaustive definition of God. We just like a passable definition of God so that we can realize that this thing that's being proposed has characteristics that you have confirmed to exist. So in your discussion, you said, if there is a greater power, well, that's a big if, and that's assuming the very thing that's in question. And then you followed up by saying, if there are things that are beyond our ken, but are shown to us by a greater power. Well, I'm not aware of anything that is beyond our ken, which has been shown to us by a greater power. As a matter of fact, I don't know what a greater power is, and I don't know anything that anyone has ever learned from a supposed greater power. Can you give an example of something that we've learned from a greater power, and how we know that it came from a greater power?
Yes. Well, I mean, these examples, again, aren't going to be like things that you can comprehensively describe, but the things in life which are showing that it's rich beyond our ability to express are things like beauty in music and nature.
No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. No, sir, Billy. Billy, I'm afraid that you did not listen to my question correctly. I'm saying, what things are beyond our understanding that have been shown to us by a greater power? Because I saw beauty on my own. No greater power showed me beauty. I want to know what it is that is beyond our understanding, which you claim has been shown to us by a greater power.
You saw it by yourself, you're saying?
I've seen things and evaluated them as beautiful, yes. I've had beauty described to me. There's a definition of beauty in the dictionary. There's a definition of beauty in each person's mind. We can have conversations. We can talk about what is and isn't beautiful. We understand that it's not, that it is ultimately, to some extent, subjective, but there are common standards about beauty. But nothing about our understanding of beauty is in any way tied to being discovered and shown to us by a greater power.
Do you feel, when you experience beauty and such, that you could come to a comprehensive description of it, that it's something within your power to fully...
That's not relevant. I asked a question, which is what has been shown to us by a higher power? How do you know this is something that's been shown to us by a higher power? Whether or not I'm able to explain and describe beauty is completely irrelevant to whether or not there is something that has been shown to us by a higher power.
Well, the basis for me thinking that there is a higher power is that when I experience these things, I have the sure feeling that it is beyond, even in principle, my ability to...
Well, I'm sorry that you're selling yourself short and that you're believing things for fallacious reasoning, but I want good reasons to believe something. I can't believe in God just because you're befuddled by things.
So, I'm not asking you to believe in a God or believe in anything. I'm not really doing that. But...
Well, then why'd you call?
Well, because I want to discuss it, but I'm not trying to make anything happen.
Sure. You don't want the responsibility because you, if you were trying to defend me, if you were trying to convince me, would have to actually defend your beliefs. But you don't want to defend your beliefs. You want to just state what they are, as if it's some curiosity. Well, I'm not interested in curiosity. I'm interested in whether or not it's true that there's a God. And you called in to suggest that there are things beyond our comprehension which have been revealed to us by a God. And when I ask you to prove it, you come up with nothing other than that you're personally befuddled.
Well, this is my point because, and when I said earlier that if there is greater power, you said that was an assumption. I don't see how that is the case. I'm saying if there is greater power.
Literally the word if is what makes it an assumption. I'm sorry that you don't understand argumentation. Go ahead.
I'm saying there is. I'm saying if.
You believe there is. Why are you not standing up for the courage of your convictions? Why is it that theists are constantly cowering in the I'm not saying it's real, I just think it's the case, and why don't you do this? You made a statement that there were things that were revealed to us by a higher power, and I want to know what it is.
Yeah. But my point is that, I mean, I'm allowed to say if there was, right? Even though, you know, I can say this. Surely I'm allowed to say that. And if there was...
You're not allowed to say it without being challenged at being dishonest. Not here. If you make the assertion, as you did,
shall we say
that there are things that were revealed to us by a higher power, and I ask you what it is, how long should I wait for you to give an example before I move on?
Maybe it's the word if which you object to. So let's say there is a greater power. There are things beyond our capability to fully express. Then you're requiring a proof of it. You see, if we could prove God's existence, if we could summon God like we can prove scientific fact, then he wouldn't be a greater thing than us.
Bullshit.
Billy.
Bullshit. Absolute. Oh, go ahead, Dan, because this is absolute bullshit, and I would hang up. So it's all you.
What is the point of the Bible? Then, what is the point of the Bible if not a description of who God is and what His people have done?
To be fair,
right?
Billy may not be a Christian.
That's true, but like, he did say no. He did say the Bible at the beginning, right? I'm assuming maybe you're not a Christian, but you did use the Bible as.
Please ask me.
Say again.
Yeah, I know. I'm not. So, what is the point of it? Well, I think that our attempts to express these things are really futile. So we can.
Talking to you is.
Hello?
Did you?
I said talking to you is definitely futile because instead of defending what you believe or making a case for it, you just argued that we can't prove God. Well, let me ask you this, Billy. Why would you believe something that you can't prove? Do you not care about the truth?
Because in a situation where there is a greater power than us, that we are subject to a rule that we didn't put in place, then we are not going to be able to prove in the sense of things which are within our scope in the same way about this greater thing. We're not going to be able to, if we could.
No, Billy, you are confused and making statements that are just bizarrely ridiculous. There is no reason to think that if in fact there is a God, that it would be something that we couldn't prove.
Or even not just prove, at least just have reasons to believe.
Right.
Right.
But what we're saying is you need to have a good reason to believe something. And I've asked you what the good reason is, and your thing is, well, if God's greater than us, then we wouldn't be able to prove it. That's not an explanation for why you're willing to believe something without good evidence.
Not quite. That wasn't what I said when you asked me for my reasons. My reasons are that I experience things which I think are real, which I also am incapable of describing in a consistent way. I'm not, part of an organised religion, so my examples won't be the same as many people here. But, for example, in music, beauty in music, for example, I don't think I can explain what it is about profound music that is really the core of.
So what? The fact that you are incapable of explaining something does not mean there's a God. We're right back to your befuddlement from earlier. It's not a good reason for you to conclude. If people ran around saying, because I don't understand something, therefore I'm going to believe that there's a magic person who does, we would never have discovered any fucking thing in the history of the world because we would have written lightning off to the gods. The fact that you are personally unable to describe your experiences doesn't mean they're from a God. That is a grossly irrational, fallacious line of reasoning.
That's quite what I'm saying.
Well, then would you say what you're saying? Because we've been here for over 10 minutes. And the only thing we keep getting back to is that you're really befuddled and think that that's the reason to believe in a God.
Well, it's not like a situation where I feel like I just need to try a bit harder and I'm able to explain.
I know, you're not trying harder. You gave up. That's the point.
No. About these things which convince me there's a great power, it's not just that I'm not able to explain them yet. They also come with the sense that it's impossible. You're never going to be able to make any progress towards explaining.
Which is irrelevant as to whether or not there's a God. Can you put together an actual, sensible, reasonable argument, valid in structure, that leads to, therefore it is reasonable to conclude that a God exists?
You're not really letting me
Waste time?
What I'm saying may not lead. What I'm saying may not lead to it, but then
why come to the conclusion?
You're the one that's reached a conclusion. You're here
Yeah.
to convince us that you are reasonable in reaching a conclusion. Can you do that?
Well, I was trying to explain more about my feeling of the experience I had, which led me to this. But
what experience? Describe the experience that you had that led you to a god.
So you're saying that it just merely comes down to me.
I said, describe the experience you had that led you to a god.
Well, there's more than one, but I'm giving an example of music, for example. And
Okay. What about music led you to God?
It's because the profound experiences of the beauty of music is something which, it's not just something which I haven't got round to being able to describe, because there are lots of things, obviously, which are confusing first, and then you work on it and you can describe. No, this is something where I feel you could spend a lifetime.
Well, I'm sorry, Billy, but the fact that you don't think this is an issue where anybody could ever get to, A, does not mean that you are correct. And B, let's assume that nobody could ever get there with music. How does that demonstrate that there's a God?
So we could assume that there was something which humanity couldn't ever comprehensively describe.
I just said, listen to me very carefully, Billy. Let's go ahead and go with your flawed assumption that music is something that mankind will never understand properly. The appeal and awe and feelings we derive from music. We'll just go with your flawed confusion. How does that demonstrate that therefore there must be a God? Maybe it's just not comprehensible.
Well, okay, so if we make that assumption, then it means that there's something we experience which is beyond our capability to describe, beyond our capability to comprehensively describe, right? There's something beyond it's like something beyond our power. There's something greater than us.
No, Billy, the fact that we can experience something that we can't describe doesn't mean there's a God. How do you make that case that there is?
Well, maybe
I don't want to hear maybes, Billy. Make a fucking case.
At the moment, I would be arguing for the existence of something greater than us, a greater power. If you don't like calling that God, but I mean, I think it comes to the same thing.
Please, what is wrong here, Billy? Why is it that you cannot answer the question? I'm going to give you one last chance. I'm going to give away the whole farm. Billy, for the sake of this argument, you have convinced me that music and the way we feel about it, the experience we have, is indescribable, it is incomprehensible, and no human throughout the rest of history will ever be able to properly grok what, how, and why music impacts us the way that it does. How does that lead to the conclusion that therefore there must be a God or a higher power?
Because if even in principle we're incapable of describing it, then there must be something beyond our scope that exists, which impacts us and gives us this experience that is beyond our power to. I mean, if we were able to do it, then we would be able to survey our world fully. But if there's something which exists beyond our limits, then it's extra to us.
Yeah, Billy, I'm gonna suggest that you go back and record the last 4 or 5 sentences you just uttered that were an attempt to answer that question, and outline them, because you'll find that at no point in there were you anywhere in the fucking same universe of actually answering the question. This is the thing, and this is what Billy seemed to be trying to say but didn't say, which is that if there's something that affects us which we cannot comprehend, certainly there must be something out there that can comprehend it. but that's simply not the case. It may be the case in the same way that certain numbers are irrational and endless, that they are irrational and endless for anyone and everyone, that there's a uniformity there. That just because something cannot be a ratio of a whole number, you might as well be saying, well, we haven't found an end to pi, so surely there must be a God out there that knows what the last digit of pi is. That's the same type of reasoning that's going on here. Not exactly. I know somebody's going to get mad and email, oh, you didn't get it.
If there's a chimpanzee that's watching a TV and they say, oh, there must be a greater power because I can't understand it. Well, they just don't know how TV works, right?
Oh, they're right. We are the greater power.
Well, but it's not, we're not ultimate though. We're not like, you know, something beyond what I mean, maybe beyond a chimp's comprehension, but like you can still point to our existence and like still get to the methodologies there, right? This is what like frustrates me about these arguments is people say, oh, well, we just can't understand it. It's this thing that exists, but you know, we don't understand how it works. But if you're saying you can get there via music or rituals, then there's something that's describing the thing, right? Like you are describing at least a method by which people come to certain conclusions about that thing and what it's like I could point to something to go extreme, right? I could look at the Holocaust and I think that that's a profound evil, but that doesn't lead me to conclude, well, there must be a higher power because I don't understand it, right? Like the profoundness works both ways, you know what I'm saying? Like, and plus, I don't know, we are describing it in a way. The thing I was going to make about the Bible, you did bring up the Bible, I guess, that like people are describing God in their context in the Bible. Like they're making all kinds of claims about him and like what he is and what he thinks and what he's doing. So clearly these people who were able to figure something out, unless you're saying the Bible is fine, you know, that's something you hear with Christians, right? That God is beyond comprehension when they have like, you know, definitions on what it is. So.
Yeah, you're claiming to F the ineffable and to describe the indescribable. The thing that Billy was doing, which was an annoying bit of a cheat, is, well, I'm not saying it's God, I'm saying it's a higher power, because higher power is not clearly defined. As a matter of fact, it's absolutely useless. And so it could have been the case, and at one point I think Billy got dangerously close to saying this, that if music is something that we absolutely can't understand, then that proves that there's something that is beyond our understanding. And the something that is beyond our understanding must therefore be a higher power, which means music is the higher power. Not the thing out there that understands music, but music itself. And this
I think that's a very good, clear point of distinction there too. Yeah.
We've got Phil calling in from Hawaii, pronouns are he, him, and wants to ask about magicians and staffs to snakes. So welcome, Phil.
Hello, Matt.
Hey.
So my understanding is that you're a great magician, and
I'm a pretty decent one.
And objectively, Dan, I guess you're like nothing. But
damn, what? Wait a minute, hold on. I'm nothing. Hey, fuck you, guy. I'm something. What the hell? What is this? I'm nothing. Coming on, calling the show, say that to my face.
Damn, Phil.
What's going on?
You got Dan riled up.
Damn, Phil. I'm just kidding. I know.
Go ahead, Phil.
All right. So, Matt.
Yep.
You know the story of the Pharaoh and his magicians throwing staffs down and making them turn into snakes.
Yep.
Is that something that is actually possible? Something that a modern magician could do, or is this possibly just a self-interested man?
What about those fireworks that, like, you know, you light up and it makes the little snakes come out? You know what I'm talking about? Maybe that could be it.
That's a pile of poopy ash. But to answer Phil's question, I don't know any magician that's currently doing it. I can think of ways to potentially do it. But even if there was no magician today who could do it, it doesn't matter, because I don't think that trick ever actually happened. The fact that there's a storybook which includes turning water to wine, which I've seen magicians do, and I've, you know, had a way to do myself as well. There are tricks that can be done, but if you're saying in the Bible it says, hey, we turn staves into snakes and no magician today can do that, therefore God, well, that's just silly, because even if no magician could do that today, therefore story. You don't have any evidence that that actually happened. But yes, I can think of a couple different ways to do it myself. I can certainly imagine professional magicians who would probably be able to do that without a great deal of work. Yes.
And just to be clear, when you say you know magicians that can turn water into wine, I think he was.
But Michael in Tennessee, pronouns are he, him, called in because he thinks DMT is good evidence for a world beyond the physical world. Really?
Oh. I love it. I love it.
Michael, you there?
I'm here.
So why is it that you think that a brain altered by a chemical produces evidence for another reality rather than evidence that a brain is not perceiving correctly?
Because of the common experience.
I've been high on lots of things that were calming. Doesn't mean that there's another reality I'm in touch with.
No, sorry, common.
Okay. I've taken lots of drugs. I've had plenty of experiences. Those experiences don't mean that there's another reality. What evidence is there that there's another reality?
Also, side note, wouldn't the commonality of these experiences point more to the evidence that these chemicals are and the substances are physical in nature and that they have like some replicability to them?
Yeah. I mean, I'm putting a chemical in my body that alters the way my brain works. And I agree that it alters the way my brain works. And I agree that I'm perceiving something. But what you're saying, Michael, is that what I'm perceiving is actually real.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, how can you reach the conclusion that it's real?
Well, you can't get to the conclusion that's real, but you can.
Well, then we're wasting time. Thanks for calling.
Essentially evident. It's essentially evident.
No, it's not. I'm sorry, but the fact that people get high and experience something, and you say that there's commonality of experience, that's because people's brains are similar and the drug is similar.
Yeah.
If you want to go the step further to say that they're experiencing something real, you have to come with more evidence than that.
Yeah, that's like saying people who have dementia must be experiencing something real because they have commonality in their experiences. Like we there's a lot that we don't know about dementia, but we do know that it is something that's happening to the brain. We don't point to like ghosts like inhabiting people or something,
So final call for today, he, him in California. Tomas, welcome. And you want to talk about the historical presence of Jesus and how it impacted the world. So how you doing?
Hey, good morning, gentlemen. Real quick, Matt, I just want to tell you I've been following you for a long time. I love your works from the shows to the debates. But just to give you some background similar to yours, I was raised a Catholic my whole life. And then in my late 20s, I started going through an exercise of when somebody said you're a Catholic.
Hey, Tomas, we've got like 2 minutes left in the show. I don't have time for a backstory on you. I apologize. You can either call back on another week if it's critical, or you can make your point about the historical Jesus.
Okay, it was a question actually to you. So I was asking, with ancient worlds, how they had old gods like Zeus or whatever, and eventually faded. I'm assuming from the same reasons where it's commonality that, you're just getting smarter. Why do you think that Jesus, which I believe existed but probably didn't do any of the magical stuff, why do you think that particular story in that old world that had already gone through these cycles was so strong that even up until today it has such a clinch, on world, world politics and government and so many.
Because it was compelling to the right people who managed to make it the official state religion and kill off and outlaw people who disagreed. And that religion is the one that was essentially the Holy Roman Emperor as empire, as Rome's taken over everything. Don't get me wrong, there are things within Christianity as it's taught and as it has been taught that appeal and are certainly popular. But what ends up happening is when you've got Constantine declaring what is and isn't legal and that we're going to change our, well, not necessarily constantly in that case, but in other cases, hey, we're going to change the calendar based on this, and we're going to take over yours, and we're going to go ahead and co-opt your religion so that we're going to take Esther and make that Easter, and we're going to, all these other things. Christianity and the vicious regime that helps spread it. It's not like modern day where people are going out, we're going to try and spread Christianity with love. That's not remotely what go look up what the Crusades were. This is what fundamentally changed the world, and now you have the descendants of those people, and the governments and nation states that are the descendants of what those people created. That's the best explanation I can give you for why it took off. But I will say, for the people who think, and I gotta let you go, Tomas, because we're out of time, but for the people who think that it spread because it's true, keep that in mind when you're no longer the most popular religion. When one of those other religions takes over, the argumentum ad populum is just a fallacy. And if it were in fact true, if Christianity were in fact real, why on earth would I have had to sit here for 16 and a half years or 17 years or however long it's been, asking for caller after caller after caller to defend those beliefs and still getting and ending up with nothing?
I see atheism as an intellectual excuse to hide behind all this pain you are describing. Well, what about Christianity and justifying suffering, which is a very defeatist attitude, and that leads to a lack of desire to relieve suffering because they can just pray for it and find meaning in other people's suffering, which I find
right, or believe that someday later it'll all be set right. All the injustices, all this pain and suffering is worthwhile because you'll go to heaven.
Well, I agree, but I wouldn't have responded anything like that. I would have responded with, you condescending, ignorant prick. How dare you presume to dismiss something that I have, a belief that I have come to for rational reasons, which I am prepared to defend, which I am active and eagerly willing to discuss. How dare you dismiss it as me hiding behind something when you've presented nothing that comes anywhere near establishing that? How dare you argue so dishonorably and so dishonestly about something that you profess to hold dear? Either make your case or shut the fuck up. But don't come with nonsense like that. It's like the people who call in to say, "Oh, well, what made you so mad at God?" Nothing.
I just want to strangle people.
Nothing. What made you so stupid that you think I was mad at God? Baby, want a cookie? It's the stupidest stuff. Either you can have a conversation about this or you can't. And if your claim is that I believe this, I don't really have a good reason, I can't really explain it to you, fine. Then accept the fact that you're not going to convince people about it. But if you can't do that, to come back with, oh, what are you, did you get your feelings hurt? Did you lose somebody? Did you ask for something in prayer and not get it? Oh my God, I want to stick my foot right up your condescending ass. You are a horrible representative of everything you profess. And yet you are so common. Maybe, are there no good representatives?
Yeah.
Could be the case.
Well, they do it out of concern for us atheists because they want to be concerned about our emotional health, right?
I really don't want you to burn in hell forever. Well, maybe you shouldn't be worshiping a prick you think's going to do that.
At this point, I consider myself just as much of an atheist as I do a theist.
Well, that's absolutely absurd. That's like saying I consider myself just as much a basketball as not a basketball. That's it. That is a completely irrational, illogical statement.
Cut him some slack.
No. I don't. Okay. Hang on, real quick. Hang on, real quick. I don't cut anybody slack. PZ Myers was on Nonprofits 2 weeks ago. He said something that I completely agree with. We welcome ideas, we welcome discussion, we welcome everybody, but do this with the knowledge that when you say something stupid, you're going to be flayed alive. And when people say something like, I am just as...
I opened myself up to that. That's why I said that, and I don't mind being flayed.
But
here's my position. Why do you want to settle for one set of options and to settle for one set of beliefs? I can have fun with either one. I can look at the universe and see the presence or the past of the creator, and look at either one and say, yeah, I can do that. If there's a creator, no big deal. I'll meet it when I die. If there's not a creator, no big deal. I won't even know about it when I die because I probably won't consciously be aware that I'm dead.
Yes, but the words have meanings, and theism carries with it the meaning that one believes there is a God, and that is a binary position. Either you believe that there is a God or you do not. There is no in between.
Well, that's the fun thing about any dividing line is you can take an eraser, erase that line, and have...
No, you can't.
Objectively, wait.
No, you cannot.
Objectively, one is true and the other isn't.
No, you are not understanding me. You are not understanding me because you are setting up a false dichotomy. I said either you believe that a God exists or you do not believe. That is not the same thing as you believe a God exists or you believe no gods exist. That is something different. There is a single claim, God exists. Either you believe that claim or you do not believe that claim. There is no middle ground. There is no line to erase. I can draw you a Venn diagram that demonstrates it. This is logic 101. There are no middle ground options. What you're doing.
Can I make a statement that I think we can both agree on, and have you tell me if I'm right?
Okay.
That in the objective sense of truth, one or the other is true, but both cannot be true. It's either true that there is a God, or it's true that there is no God.
Correct.
Both are incapable of being true.
Correct.
However, I can believe whatever I want. I can
You're right.
believe both.
No, you can't. You can't. You cannot do that. How can you possibly do that? No. It's not a matter of not being logical. No, stop. It's not a matter of not being logical. It's a matter of honesty. You cannot simultaneously say, I believe there is a God and I believe there's not a God. One of those is a lie. One of those you don't really believe, you're just saying. You cannot be in that position.
There's a difference between.
You're wrong. I just don't see how you're right.
Humans are messy.
Wow. I'm not going to say you're wrong. I just don't see how you're right. That sums up the problem.
Thanks for calling.
In reality, in actuality, on a single issue, on a single statement of X exists, it is true that either that statement is true or that statement is not true. I fail to see how anybody could say they simultaneously believe both of them. Now, maybe you believed one yesterday and a different one today. Maybe you're vacillating back and forth between the two of them. But to say that you simultaneously believe X and not X is insane. You should go seek professional help if you think that that's true.
Well, you can't build anything on that, right? That's a contradiction, and you can't make any real moral decisions or you can't base any decisions on a premise like that.
Which is why I flatly assert that people who do that are deceiving themselves and or trying to deceive others, or batshit crazy. And you didn't strike me as that type of person. So I think you're engaged in a little self-deception.
So y'all don't believe in God, so y'all don't believe in anything.
No, that's not true.
No. Well, God's everything, so if you don't believe in Him, then you believe in nothing.
Oh, okay, so you're defining God as everything.
Well, God made everything. Like, how can you walk outside and look at the trees in the sky and be like, there's no God?
Okay, so I'm kind of confused because you've said God made everything, and then you said God is everything, and now you want us to look at trees and that's evidence of God.
Well, yeah, the Big Bang didn't make the trees. How did the trees get here?
Acorns, seeds.
Well, what about those, and what about before that and before that?
Right, and if you look at the genetic code for life on this planet, the evidence points to the fact that there is sometime way back in our history a common ancestor. That life is this divergent pattern, a self-replicating divergent pattern that is evolved over time through natural selection. That's where the evidence points.
Okay, well, so you don't see God in anything. You don't see God out in the world. Everything's designed for us. Like the banana's designed for us. It fits in the hand. It fits in your mouth.
It fits in your butt. Do you think
Not
that's
in mine, maybe in yours.
Do you think that was the intended purpose?
Do you realize that the bananas that you eat, the bananas that you're looking at, are actually cultivated plants created by humans that don't exist in the wild? They can't reproduce on their own? Do you realize that? God didn't make the bananas you eat. We did.
Whatever. Oh, so you can make a banana appear in your hand right this minute?
No. But I can make something that looks like a banana appear in my hand.
See, you're just atheist because y'all want to sin all the time.
That's it. You got it.
Pretty much. I'm a big fan of sin, I have to tell you.
We just decided this whole sin thing, it's for us, so pshaw.
I was convinced by some really bad arguments that I had good reasons to believe, but at the time I didn't realize they were bad reasons. I thought they were, this is what Tracy was talking about at the beginning, I had a fundamentally different view about what makes something a good reason to believe. And so I was sincerely convinced, and I was sincerely mistaken.
Okay, so based on what you're telling me, it seems like it's because of what the people that were telling you and your feelings and etc. that you thought you had that relationship with Christ, correct?
That and what I was experiencing was what I understood to be a relationship with Christ, but I don't think that's the case.
What were you experiencing?
I would get impressions when I was praying about that felt like guidance. I would ask God for answers and go to the scripture and find things that made sense to the question that I was asking, and that felt like God leading me towards an answer, stuff like that.
And why do you not take that as guidance from God, though?
Why do I not?
Why could that not be the case? Yeah.
Because there's no evidence that any of that was actually guidance from a God, and you can open up the Bible to pretty much any page and find something that you can then interpret after the fact to be significant. And then even if you test the results, people who believe in a God aren't more moral, they're not more honest, they don't necessarily live any better life than anybody else. And so when you try to figure out, is this me acting as if I was God, or is it actually God? How do you tell the difference? And I have no way of telling the difference. If there is a God, he hasn't done anything to make himself clear. And I don't understand why any God that would give somebody a rough feeling that maybe this passage might be relevant to their life wouldn't just say...
That's what faith is, right? That's what faith is. He's not.
Chris.
You live by faith. You don't live by evidence. That's what Christianity is all about, right?
We understand that much.
And that's why I reject it, because faith is not a reliable pathway to knowledge or understanding.
Well, here's what I'm asking, though. Like, for example, when you say that it's okay to have faith, which just means believing that you believe, that's what faith is. It's just belief, right? I mean, you're saying, I believe it.
It's not just belief. It's knowing. It's having
It's just a strong, it's a convinced, you're convinced, all right? Well, you're believed to a high degree.
It's being guided by him and knowing.
Hang on.
I guess my point is, you're saying faith, not evidence. And then you start piling on what you are trying to describe as evidence.
Yes.
And what we're then you have to look at it. It's like, do you believe on faith or do you believe on evidence?
I just talked about evidence.
What do you think?
You don't think
you were
hearing
talking
God's
about,
voice?
You said you hear God's voice.
That's not evidence. That's
It's
faith.
not?
I have an experience with God.
So you don't
That's my
actually hear
personal
God's voice.
experience.
That's not really happening. You just believe that you hear it, but it's not really hearing it?
It's like I have the Holy Spirit in me, so I'm being
How do you
guided
know?
by Him.
How do you know?
Because I know. I know when He
Okay,
speaks to me.
Chris, do you understand that because I know is not in any way an explanation? It doesn't do anything to explain anything. It doesn't help anybody understand. I could say you're
But do you
wrong.
know
I
that
could
the
say,
Bible-
Chris,
do you
I
know
could,
that
Chris,
the Bible
Chris,
is full of
Chris.
personal testimonies.
I don't.
Well, so is alien abduction.
I am full of personal testimonies, and I could sit here and say that I know that you're wrong. And when you ask, how do I know that? I can just say, I know. And we get nowhere. So how is that remotely a pathway to understanding or truth?
You're just hell bent on denying the truth. You just don't want to accept it.
Well, no, you're not giving us any reason.
I accept all kinds
to
of
believe
things.
that what you're saying is true.
I accept all kinds of things are true.
By your own definition, Chris, you're basically saying you're not going to provide reasons, you're not going to provide evidence, that you just simply are saying that you know it's true and we should believe you. We're rejecting it. You say we're unreasonable rejecting it, and yet you give us nothing to accept it on.
But every person, if you look in the Bible is the main thing in Christianity, right? So every person they didn't have an evidence for God. It's based on their personal experience and
Personal
encounter.
experience, every bit of evidence you've ever attained is through personal experience. Every single bit of evidence you've ever attained is through personal experience.
Yes, and also looking at the world, the design, everything.
Okay, so, but you just said that it's not about personal experience, and then you acknowledge that it is.
What?
What happened to Saul on the road to Damascus?
He had an encounter with God.
How do you know that?
That's what the Bible says.
How do you know that it's true?
Because Bible was inspired by God.
How do you know the Bible was inspired by God?
Why do you?
Of my personal experience with God, I know.
Whoa, the Bible doesn't even say it's inspired by God. So why are you saying it?
He leads me to scriptures from the Bible. There's a lot of truth in the Bible.
How do you know that He's leading you through the scriptures?
Because God speaks to me in my
Okay,
through the Holy Spirit.
Chris, does God answer your prayers and give you guidance on what to do?
Of course.
Then pray.
Yes.
Then pray
Absolutely.
to your Chris. Then pray to your God right now, and ask Him what He wants you to say to us. And
But He doesn't always answer right away. I mean,
I tell you what, call back after He answers. Call me back as soon as God tells you what He wants you to say. Because I guarantee you, He hasn't wanted, if He exists, He hasn't wanted you to say any of the things you've said so far.
how do you know that?
Because you don't sound very convincing, and it's rough listening to your
I
call.
know because I know, and if that's a good enough answer for you to believe God, then clearly it should be a good enough answer for you to believe me.
Your turret has been destroyed.
Do you think, now, do you agree with, I guess, Solomon's position or whatever, that life is meaningless without God?
Yes.
Okay. That's what I'm saying I disagree with. I understand people hold that position, and I'm saying that it's absolutely wrong.
Okay, look at the MLK
Because,
Day today. Martin Luther
hang on,
King.
because, and I can tell you this because I have a life. My life has meaning and purpose. I have the same experiences as everybody else, and so do many of the other people that I know, anybody. I mean, my life isn't fundamentally different from anybody else's just because I don't happen to believe in a deity.
Right, I understand. I mean, everyone's entitled to their own opinion.
Well,
one thing I will say is, but look at America, look at the history of the world, look at the diversity of Christianity around the world, all the different countries that honor Christianity. I mean, it offers meaning to a lot of people. You know?
Sure.
It does.
Because I've seen people incarcerated
And
for
drugs
20
drugs
years.
make people feel good.
What?
Drugs make people feel good.
Temporarily.
Are Christians happy all the time?
Well, it's human nature. We
It's
have a
temporary.
bad days,
You
but
can't-
more
you
long
can't-
term than drugs because it doesn't harm the body.
Not if you're taking drugs all the time.
I've heard you guys go on and on about this, and when it comes to talking about the Bible, you guys are just practically illiterate.
Really?
I've heard what you say, and you guys really don't have any facts at all.
Like what?
Well, just like anything you've ever said today about the Bible, about anything that you've ever said about it. Besides, what I'd really like to do is someday I'm gonna come down there and punch your fat face in for Jesus. That's what I'm gonna do.
Really? Do you think that's what Jesus wants you to do? Because
yeah, definitely. He's gonna come back and he's just gonna.
Does he want me to turn the other cheek when you do that?
I don't know. He's gonna be real happy.
And at least we figured out who was illiterate. But one of my favorite calls. I'm gonna come punch your face for Jesus. I mean, Let's go on. We got, is it Kim?
Yes.
How you doing, Kim?
Good, thanks. I want to be respectful to you guys, even though I'm a Christian. I don't want to put you down, but
Go ahead. I probably just put you down 3 or 4 times.
well, and I expect that for the most part. But really what I want to ask you is, you just got done talking about authority and, questioning authority. And really, to me, when I listen to you guys, it doesn't seem to me like you're willing to question. Because there's a whole world to be discovered and explored within, in my opinion, the Bible. And I certainly did my homework.
Hang on for just a second, because this may or may not change your opinion. Is this the first time you watch the show?
I channel surf and
Okay. You
watch.
may not actually realize that I was a fundamentalist Christian for many years and was studying with the intent to be a preacher when I became an atheist. So it's not like I haven't examined and considered Christianity. It's not like I haven't examined and considered the Bible. Some people, I don't consider myself necessarily an expert, but some people might consider me an expert on the subject. It was and I didn't go looking for a reason not to believe. My pursuit, my study, was to specifically fulfill my obligation, 1 Peter 3:15, where I'm expected to provide an answer, a reason for the hope that I have. It was a way of finding out, were my beliefs actually justifiable? Was I able to give good reason for other people to believe this?
So you're real heavy into reason. I can hear that in the way you speak.
Sure.
You guys are kind of like intellectuals, and so you have to be convinced in your minds, is what I'm hearing.
Right. Where else would you be convinced?
There are those who would say they are convinced within their hearts, within their
My
spirit.
heart does no thinking. It pumps blood.
Well, your heart might just pump blood now that I'm thinking about it.
And your heart does more?
I definitely feel in my human experience something in my chest area
You should maybe see a doctor.
that links to the thought of a God. And I want to challenge you.
I don't
what
want
if you're wrong? What are you doing with your future here?
Pascal's wager. What if I'm
You're
wrong?
wrong. Oh my God, what if you're wrong?
What if you're wrong? What if you're wrong?
Hey, I got nothing to lose.
Nothing. What if the Buddhists are right? What if the Hindus are right? What if the Muslims are right? What if the Zoroastrians are right?
Well,
you
you
have
gotta
nothing
pick,
to lose.
You got to pick which one you want, and
Right, and I'm
I
picking-
choose the God that would die for me. Not, to me, that's the man right there.
You pick the myth that's most comfortable to you. And what I'm saying is that I don't have any good reason to think that any of them are true, and I'm being intellectually honest and reasonable.
Well, I do
in
believe you're
rejecting.
being honest that you don't have faith, and that is a gift that God would give you if you wanted it.
Why would anybody want it? Why would you want to believe things without justification?
There's a myriad of justifications to believe.
Like what?
Like life itself.
Life is proof of life. Life tells you nothing about how it got here until you investigate. And there's no reason to think that there's any kind of... Can you give a reason why there needs to be an intelligent creator?
Because I have no explanation for why I exist without
but
an
just
intelligent
because you
creator.
don't, but just because you don't doesn't mean somebody else could, or that explanations exist.
Well, I don't live based on what other people's
No.
experiences are.
Okay, but you are doing that. You're
No, I'm
basing
living
it.
on
You're
what
basing it
my
on the
experience.
Bible.
How do you know that the Bible's God's word?
I know it because I know it because
See,
I know it.
You don't care whether or not it's true. Yeah. You want to believe because you want to believe what you want to believe.
I
It doesn't
didn't want
matter.
to believe the Bible. That was the last place I wanted to go. I went everywhere.
I know.
Couldn't find
I
it.
didn't want to be moved by Jesus, but he moved me anyway.
You're kind of a pathetic man that you're such a naysayer to those who have faith.
Yes, because
That's
faith
kind of
is...
pathetic, don't you
Hang on,
think?
hang on.
Why do you care if I have faith or not?
Because I actually care about other people.
And what are you
Faith-
trying to do?
Can
Take
I
my
answer?
faith
Can I
away?
Can I answer? Because I'm going to get to a question here in just a second, but I want to answer your question. Faith, if you're trying to determine what is true and what is not true, if you're trying to distinguish between fact and fantasy, faith is not the way to do it. You cannot do it by faith. Faith tells you nothing. Okay. You believe that the Bible is God's word.
Yes, I do.
Is it in error anywhere?
I don't think so.
You don't?
Nope.
Do you think that these are instructions from God that represent morality?
I do.
Okay. So if your child was unruly, would you take him to the edge of town and stone him to death?
Old Testament was a time.
No, ma'am.
You don't understand the scriptures.
Are you kidding me?
I'm kidding you.
All right, listen to this. If you're going to come on here and tell me I don't understand the scriptures, I'm going to explain.
If you're going to bring up Old Testament fundamental ideas that God was using to train up the early experiences in
No,
the
ma'am.
faith, you don't know what you're talking about.
I beg to differ, and I'll demonstrate that right now. If you'll just be quiet for a second and listen. God in the Bible says that he's unchanging, he's eternal, he's the same now, today, yesterday, today, and tomorrow. So if something was morally correct in the Old Testament, for example, to stone your unruly children, then it should be morally correct forever. The same is true for slavery, punishing homosexuals, not eating shellfish, etc. When Jesus in the New Testament talks about it, he says that not a jot or tittle of the law will be changed until all has come to pass, despite the fact that he personally goes on to violate a number of Old Testament laws. Number three, please be quiet, let me finish, is the idea that I'm sure you believe that the Ten Commandments are binding. Do you not?
I do.
Well, okay. That's in the Old Testament. You should look it up. You cannot pick and choose from the Old Testament to say what you want to keep and what you want to throw away.
Okay, are you going to let me respond now to all this that you just spewed out at me?
Yes.
Number one, the Old Testament harshness reflects God's rage with sin.
So your God isn't benevolent.
He cannot tolerate the wickedness of mankind. He cannot tolerate it.
So why does he tolerate it now?
Love,
why does he tolerate it now?
Why aren't you letting me talk like I let you talk?
Well, okay, go ahead.
In his love, he sent someone to offer a way out of this terrible trap that we're all in. Do you not think you're a sinner? Don't answer me because that'll get you started talking. Bottom line, you don't understand grace. You don't understand what's been done for you with God himself, sacrificing himself.
Yeah, I do, actually. And I put you on hold. I didn't hang up. You're rationalizing. You are spinning this to say what you wanted to say. How beautiful and how wonderful it was that Jesus, through his life, death, resurrection, saved us all. What you're ignoring is that what it tells us is that your God is not always benevolent. In the past, he was angry and vengeful. That's not omnibenevolence. What it tells us is that he created this system knowing ahead of time what was going to happen, specifically created knowing that people would sin and fall away. And he thinks that it's just to punish one person for the sins of another, that the sins of the Father should carry on to the Son, that we are all responsible for original sin. Those are all immoral principles. Then what he does is he comes out and says, I've created this situation where I've turned everybody into sinners. So he sacrifices himself to act as a loophole for a rule that he made himself instead of just forgiving. It's an absolutely absurd and obscene and immoral philosophy. You can't just say, oh, that was Old Testament, and now we're on to the New. And by the way, there are problems in the New Testament as well. I've done an entire dissertation on the Sermon on the Mount that goes word for word. You can say all day long that Jesus came out of love, but you're ignoring the ideas of original sin. You're ignoring the idea of an unchanging God. You're ignoring the moral code that Jesus himself supposedly said wouldn't change. And you're doing it all so that you can believe what you want to believe, so that you can focus on the positive bits that turn the other cheek and not the eye for an eye. You are picking and choosing, and you can make the Bible by picking and choosing verses. Say whatever it is that you want to say.
I believe the whole context of the Bible from the beginning to the end.
You just demonstrated that you don't.
Now, you like to hear yourself talk.
I do.
Nobody can really demonstrate anything to you because you like to argue, as most atheists seem to really like to argue.
No.
And I really...
Hang on. I will get back to you and you can talk, I swear. There's one thing you've got to understand. All I'm asking is for you to demonstrate the truth of what you're saying. Not simply assert that it's true. Not claim that I don't understand because God hasn't given me a gift. Demonstrate the truth of what you're saying.
Faith yourself, right?
What?
See, you say what?
Because you were talking when I took
well, it depends on when you're
you've
going
been
right
having me on hold so that you could hear
somewhere.
yourself talk
Yeah,
and
so that we
try to
didn't-
convince yourself that there's no God, and you're doing your thing up there, and really I don't understand why you open the lines up when you really don't want to hear what your callers are trying to say.
No, that's
to
not
you.
it. What I want is, I really wish we could come to understand about this. If you can demonstrate that what you say is true, I'm perfectly open
All right,
to that.
well, let me ask you a question. Do you think